I wanted to say, first of all, happy Women's Month. You do so much for women by, first of all, keeping men out of women's sports, and you platform so many...
That was an easy one. That was crazy.
You've platformed so many great women, like your Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles. You also have Caroline Levitt doing a great job as press secretary. Now Alina will be joining as well. Since Democrats seem to struggle answering this question, I wanted to ask you, what is a woman, and why is it important that we understand the difference between men and women?
Well, it's sort of easy to answer for me, because a woman is somebody that can have a baby under certain circumstances. She has a quality. A woman is a person who's much smarter than a man, I've always found. A woman is a person that doesn't give a man even a chance of success.
I have been saying for a couple of weeks now that this is the dumbest administration in American history. And of course, I was broadly referring to Elon Musk, to Pete Hegseth, Mike Waltz, but of course, specifically, Donald Trump's deteriorating brain. Every day he seems to lose it more and more, which is crazy to say, considering he's never had it. But one of the best examples we've seen lately of how broken Trump's brain is came during a press conference today when he straight up lost the ability to speak, couldn't find any of the words he wanted to say, and just completely melted down. We're going to get into it all. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, this press conference got started on pretty rocky ground with Donald Trump talking about how scared he is of losing the House right here.
You asked Representative Stefanik to stay in her seat. Can you explain your reason for that? Did it have anything to do with the tight polling in the Florida district that former Representative Waltz held?
Well, I think we're doing, I think we had, as you know, we have a few elections going on. And she is phenomenal, number one. She is a friend of mine, and she was going to go to the United Nations. And I said, look, there's a lot of room for doing that or something else. But she's very popular in her district, and I didn't want to take a chance. I don't even know who else is running. I assume somebody else would have been running. But if she runs, she can't be, you never want to say can't be beaten, but I think can't be beaten. She's very, very well-liked and very smart. And I said, Lise, would you do me a favor? We cannot take a chance. We have a slim margin. We don't want to take any chances. We don't want to experiment. And she polls like I do. I won her district, as you know, by a lot of points.
Part of how broken Donald Trump's brain has been lately is just the utter state of panic that he exists in. MAG is getting booed across the country. So is Donald Trump. His trade war is backfiring. He's pulling back on wanting Canada to be the 51st state. And now he is pulling Elise Stefanik nomination, which, boy, was it beautiful to see her get embarrassed. Yeah, because he's afraid of losing the House. These are R plus 2025 districts. They're solid red. And Donald Trump thinks that he could lose them and thus lose the House to Hockey Jeffrey all because his agenda is so terrible. He is panicked. It's why he's trying to project strength. It's not working. Take a look right here.
I think most countries are agreeing with me. They actually, many of them have actually apologized. They said, look, we have taken advantage. And I don't blame them as much as I blame the people that stood. In this case, I can say the men, because so far they've been all men, haven't they? But the men that sat right there and behind the Resolute desk, mostly the Resolute desk, you know. I don't know if you know, you have a choice of 7 desks. The Resolute is the one I like, but some chose other ones. But they sat right behind a desk right in this location, and they let our country be hurt very badly.
Yeah. I don't think foreign countries are apologizing to you. We covered this just recently. Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, came out yesterday and said, we're doing the opposite of apologizing. We're done. We're moving on. And so Donald Trump actually, as we covered, bent the knee to him, which was pretty funny. But no one's apologizing to you, we know. And everyone around the world knows that Donald Trump's trade war is just going to implode on itself. Because it is so stupid, even though we'll tell you the opposite, because he doesn't know right here.
should Americans buy cars now if they want to avoid higher prices? And then just a
No,
follow
I don't think so. I think you're going to have a country that's going to boom. I just spoke to Tim Cook of Apple. He's investing $500 billion in the United States, which he would have never, he told me, I would never have done it if you lost the election, and I would have never done it if there wasn't a tariff system that is a incentive for people to come. And remember, there are no tariffs. All you have to do is do your work right.
The automotive industry is going to be anything but fine. It's not just cars that are produced by foreign manufacturers. American manufacturers as well have their factories in Mexico and Canada. They get parts that are tariffed from all over the world. Donald Trump does not actually accomplish what he wants to with this trade war, and it's the reason he'll probably pull out of it. But Donald Trump not understanding anything is the theme of this entire presidency. And even on the issues that he claims to be the greatest genius in the world on, he continues to demonstrate he's just Donald Trump is so bad at this, and he's falling apart so much that, like I said, he wasn't able to even speak when talking about crime.
And we hope this court system that's become so active all of a sudden in trying to protect some very, very bad people of crime, they have to stop. They have to let us do the job. We were elected to do the job. They shouldn't be interfering in that. It's a very sad thing that's going. Nobody can even believe it.
The words, quite literally, cannot find their way out of his mouth. People of crime, do you mean criminals? He's lost it. He can't speak. He can't think. He can't do anything. And we've talked about this in a couple of the interviews that I've done recently. And I'd love for y'all to check some of those out. But that Donald Trump is not on top of anything. He wasn't told about this group chat. He wasn't told about 4 Americans who were found dead in Europe. He says that he was unaware that the Alien Enemies Act was signed. He said Marco Rubio did it when he clearly did. Donald Trump isn't here. He's not the president. Elon is, or, Pete Hegseth. That's taking control over Signal. This is incredibly, incredibly scary. And even when Donald Trump is asked just like softball questions, he can't answer, or gives a really strange one like he did right here.
Very much.
Mr. President, I wanted to say, first of all, happy Women's Month. You do so much for women by, first of all, keeping men out of women's sports, and you platform so many.
That was an easy one. That was crazy.
You platform so many great women, like your Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles. You also have Caroline Levitt doing a great job as press secretary. Now Alina will be joining as well. Since Democrats seem to struggle answering this question, I wanted to ask you, what is a woman, and why is it important that we understand the difference between men and women?
Well, it's sort of easy to answer for me, because a woman is somebody that can have a baby under certain circumstances. She has a quality. A woman is a person who's much smarter than a man, I've always found. A woman is a person that doesn't give a man even a chance of success. And a woman's a person that in many cases has been treated very badly, because I think that what happens with this crazy issue of men being able to play in women's sports is just ridiculous and very unfair to women and very demeaning to women. And that's got to be about a 94%. I read today it was a 94% issue. And I watched the other day, a congressman, a Democrat congressman, fighting for the fact that men should be allowed to compete essentially in women's sports. And I say, I hope they keep that going, because they'll never win another election. That's a big deal. But women are basically incredible people, do so much for our country, and we love our women, and we're going to take care of our women. Yeah.
So you might be wondering why, just broadly about the entire state of our country, but why was Donald Trump asked that question? What is a woman is like the obsession of the right to ask that question and to set that up for Donald Trump was a pretty big mistake, because clearly he didn't really have a great answer, or just a weird answer. I don't know how you can expect Donald Trump to answer any question about women without sounding like the creep that he is, but not a great one. Right there. And it wasn't great either when he shifted into foreign policy, as you'd expect, both on Greenland but let's start what he had to say about Greenland.
And right now, do you have plans to expand U.S. military presence in Greenland? Is that
along very well with Greenland. We get along very well with Denmark. We've always had a good relationship. Denmark does a lot of business in the United States. We don't do so much there, but they do a lot of business in the United States. And I think they want to see, I think everybody wants to see that work out. We need Greenland, very importantly, for international security. We have to have Greenland. It's not a question of, do you think we can do without it? We can't. If you look at Greenland right now, if you look at the waterways, you have Chinese and Russian ships all over the place. And we're not going to be able to do that. We're not relying on Denmark or anybody else to take care of that situation. And we're not talking about peace for the United States. We're talking about world peace. We're talking about international security.
Oh my gosh, the incompetency is it's just astonishing. The dumbest administration in history, the dumbest president we've ever had. He is just constantly embarrassing us and himself. And I think he might at some point start to realize that. I feel like we've seen Donald Trump do less press because it always backfires on him. Just listen to him talk about Ukraine right here.
Iranian drones are attacking and killing Ukrainians every day. Why aren't you doing something about that?
Well, we're going to see what happens with that. I'm getting reports on that, and we're looking at a report. You're right. They make a lot of drones. Iran makes a lot of drones. They make very effective drones, too. They do very effectively at some things, but Iran is very high on my list of things to watch. And as you probably know, I sent them a letter just recently, and I said, you're going to have to make a decision one way or the other. And we're going to either have to talk it out, or very bad things are going to happen to Iran, and I don't want that to happen.
The man continues to embarrass us every single day on the world stage. Every single day. It is difficult to feel proud to be in America. I don't know if anyone's really felt that way for a long time, but he doesn't have answers to these questions. Remember? I'll end the war before I'm even sworn in. When was Donald Trump? When has Donald Trump ever articulated a thoughtful policy, point foreign or domestic? It's just like the cards and strength, and which he doesn't have. You're not strong. You're insecure and weak and self-centered and a liar, and a crook, which he actually just kind of basically admitted right here.
When you borrow money, if you borrow money, you have interest payments. We're going to let you deduct the interest payment for income tax reasons. And I think that's going to more than pay for itself. I think people are going to be they've never had a deduction. You know, deductions are supposed to be for like rich people, and it's unfair to have that. But rich people are, I think I know more about deductions than any human being on earth. But, you know, the truth is that people that are middle-income people that buy a car and actually have to borrow money, they're going to now get an interest deduction on their car if it's made in the United States. If it's made someplace else, that won't take place. But
yeah, we know you have cheated on your taxes, Donald. It's why you never wanted to release your tax returns. Not a shock. I can't believe they're still letting him talk. I'm baffled, especially when he sounds like this.
he makes Greenland 100 years ago, less so. But also,
would you like to visit Greenland?
If you notice, also some of those, you could call them roadways, okay? They're water roadways, but some of those areas are opening up, and they're opening up icebreakers out there. They're opening them, and by just nature, they're opening them, and they're headed right into China, right into Russia, and we have no choice. The answer is he's there with his wonderful wife, Usha. They're there right now. They landed a couple of hours ago, and they will represent us well. But Greenland's very important for the peace of the world, not us, the peace of the entire world. And I think Denmark understands it. I think the European Union understands it. And if they don't, we're going to have to explain it to them.
Would you like to visit?
The dumbest administration in history. The dumbest president in history. I cannot believe we have to cover this every day, but we just got to let the folks know, and we're going to hold them accountable every single day on the show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you're stuck around at the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.